For background, Stella and I are identical twins, 29F, and we will both be 30 when her wedding comes around this fall. I had her as my maid of honor 8 years ago, and she promised me that I could be hers when her wedding came around. I have 2 kids, 6F and 3F. They're the flower girls. My marriage fell apart just over 2 years ago, due to a stillbirth and my husband's infidelity. My parents and sister were the only reason I didn't drown from the stress, loneliness, and total abandonment of my spouse. I was a total mess. I went to therapy, got diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression, quit drinking, and I owe a lot of it to my amazing sister. She's the reason why I kept chasing down my ex for child support when he stopped suddenly paying. He suddenly switched from world's best dad to deadbeat dumbass so quickly that my ex-Mill is disgusted with him. Stella and John 35M got engaged last year. His parents are paying about 60% of the wedding. Our parents are paying 30%, Stella and John paying for the rest themselves. The biggest caveat is that they must be married in John's family's church, full mass with communion. The family is on board because this is going to be a very big wedding. Tonight, Stella had invited me to dinner, as they had finally reserved a date for the church and reception, assuming it was to formally ask me to be her maid of honor. I was excited since I haven't been in a wedding party aside from my own wedding. John was with her, weird because Stella didn't mention him coming at all in our texts about the dinner. We hugged like usual, but John didn't. Weirder. After we got our drinks, they got to it. In a nutshell, John expressed the following: despite my best efforts to keep it secret, my parents found out that you're divorced when they asked why your husband wasn't coming. They are no longer comfortable with you as maid of honor, because it won't look good to the church if my family hears about the divorce. You can be a bridesmaid but can't mention the divorce or your conditions at all during the wedding events. I was stunned, and I felt tears in my eyes. Stella started crying too, and she tried to spin it in a good way. This is way less stressful for you, so it's a good thing. Mother-in-law has already approved my BFF as my maid of honor, so please don't make this any harder. I knew that I couldn't possibly stay there through an entire meal. I had to process this new info alone. I didn't speak. I just paid for my wickedly expensive cocktail, and left to order an Uber home. A few hours ago, I texted Stella that I would not be in her wedding party at all. That was my decision. I wouldn't pull my daughters out, but I would only attend as a guest. She wouldn't take this as an answer, so I had to temp block her due to her excessive texts and calls. I sent my parents a summary of what happened and promised to call them when I was in better shape tomorrow. Stella thinks that this is a total overreaction. I don't even want to know what John thinks at this point. Please help me. Ida? Edit, thank you for all the responses. I half expected to be told to just put up with it and be a plain bridesmaid, which while difficult I kinda would have forced myself to just to make Stella happy. I was just so blindsided and I feel like I've been gut punched, and I do need to be told if I am overreacting in a big way sometimes. I'm going to fall asleep now while binging Friends. And wonder if my twin has suddenly become an Ursula instead of Phoebe. Edit 2, wow. I did not expect this to blow up. I can't thank everyone enough for their input. I have a call scheduled with my parents this afternoon. From what I gathered, they are extremely upset with Stella and John at the moment. Depending on how that goes, I will talk to my girls about doing something big and fun instead. The more I think about it, sitting through a mass sounds less and less appealing. I'm not even religious. And I saw this query in the comments. Yes, I had a cocktail with no alcohol. I use the word mocktail, but I guess its meaning is still lost to some people. When I asked for a list of mocktails last night, the server was a little condescending about it and said they're still called cocktails if they're not alcoholic. Edit. I keep seeing that everyone thinks that I should pull out my daughters. I disagree. As I currently stand, I would be fine attending as a mere guest or childminder to keep my daughters on track. It would actually make it easier to not have to bring a friend with me just as a part-time babysitter for the occasion. I will not let anyone in John's family talk down to my children. If I have any sort of inkling that such a thing would happen, only then would I pull them out as flower girls. This is simply too important to my daughters for me to pull them out altogether. They would be crushed if they were told they couldn't go to the wedding anymore. Update 2. This is going to be a brief update. John found the post as he lurks on Reddit, and shared it with Stella, wish I used the fake name Ursula, since she joked about that detail herself. Stella Ursula has officially called off the wedding. When John was ranting about the post and how bad the comments were painting him, he said that your sister must be off her goddamn meds and going manic, you better get her ass under control. But then Stella Ursula actually came undone on him and began calling out everything that John and his family had put her through. Then she took off the ring and chucked it across the living room. John went into a rage, and while he didn't do anything but yell at her, he threatened her in regards to her mobility issues. Stella Ursula uses a cane to walk. This was what triggered her to text our parents and myself. By the time our parents made it to the house, John was gone and she had packed up her bags and left with him. Her cane was not in the house. Stella Ursula wanted to thank you all for the comments calling her out. It shattered the mosaic that John built around them, and while we're both still raw and processing the last couple days, I am glad to have my sister again. She was someone else I hardly recognized a few days ago. As kids, I was more outgoing and she was more reserved, so I felt obliged to go along with her the other night despite how conflicted I felt. But again, Stella Ursula says, thanks for the wake up call. And John, if you see this, fuck you. Edit, you know what? Fuck you, Keith. Though we don't do it for male attention is the weirdest way females cope. I don't know why women pretend they don't do anything at all, from dressing nice, to elaborate makeup, to expensive hairstyles for male attention. That is the biggest lie females have made to date. It clearly is. Women don't get all dolled up to go hang out at their friend's house all night. Instead, they behave like men, they put on something comfortable and lounge around in it all day. It's double weird because men don't do this. If you ask many men why they exercise, they'll straight up tell you it's to meet women. If there wasn't that motivation, 80 to 90% of guys would be in caveman mode their entire life with nasty scraggly beards and dirty clothes. Anyway, I don't know why we have to play this social game where we all know the real reason but have to pretend it's not the real reason. Also, I don't understand the defensiveness as trying to court attention from men, especially when men are so straightforward about their intentions. Females, stop fucking lying. You try look good for men, period. Either way, I know I'm going to catch hell for this lol, so if you're going to get preachy and defensive, just don't reply unless you have a real reason to tell me, because it is actually interesting to me.
I purposely destroyed my sister's wedding, and I'm not remorseful. I'm adopted, from the UK. My sister and parents are white, my parents and I live in the UK and my sister lives in the US. She is now getting married. I work a lot, I'm a workaholic, and frankly, I dislike going to the US, for multiple reasons. For these reasons, I actually haven't met my sister's fiancé until this past weekend, where I met him. I was with my parents and the whole time he was complimenting my parents for adopting a refugee and how I speak very good English. He was also speaking loudly and slowly when addressing me directly. He also scoffed at the concept of me earning more than him. Worse, he at one point made an allusion to him, my sister and my parents being real people and me being a person of color. One was pissed, like unbelievably pissed, but I sucked it up. America is known for racism, I should have expected this, my fault, according to my sister. Then along comes his grandparents, who are shocked when they see me and ask my sister, what? How are you related to that? Yep, refer to me as that. I thought this was the end of it because my sister snapped at them and they were making an effort to be polite, though they were clearly uncomfortable. Then along comes her new sister-in-law. And she was super surprised that I was related to my sister and asked her, while I was standing right there, are you okay with a brownie being at your wedding? I can ask him to leave if you want. One had enough, I left and booked a flight out, with the money I earn at a job which pays 3 times what her fiancé earns. I also told my sister that I wouldn't attend the wedding, and on top of this, when my parents asked if I was okay, I told them as much. They agreed and were shocked with how racist they were and said they also wouldn't finance or attend the wedding. This hit my sister hard, and she has apparently lost a lot of weight and hair since, because her relationship with her parents and me is ruined, and not just that, but her fiancé is acting weird around her now. Ida?